feel okay about, prostituting themselves because, they call them PCs, private collectors, when you're like in porn and stuff. And basically all that is a guy who's got the money to pay adult film stars, like a super high escorting fee. But then the whole thing is you're supposed to be going for a photo shoot or a video, right? To film a video. But come on, that's not really, like half the time they don't even film.
All right. Genevieve, where did you grow up? Where are you from originally?
Oh, I'm from Denver, Colorado. I was adopted when I was real little, like under a year old. So my parents are white.
And your adopted parents?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How was your family?
Fucked up, really fucked up. Extremely fucked up.
In what ways?
My parents are really not good people, like really bad people. The kind of people, you read stories about, and like the kind of people who I think breed rapists, murderers, like they're just really sick people. They're super religious. They were really abusive, like really, really abusive.
In what ways?
Well, my dad like basically started torturing me at a certain point, okay, well, so the whole dynamic of our family changed after I was being sexually abused by one of my older brothers. And so when that came out, everything changed, because I don't ever remember our family being that bad, but then after that, it was like, there was nothing good, And my parents, I was like sort of the enemy at that point, even though I was very, very young, and just everything started to fall on me, like, all their frustrations. I was like kind of singled out because really the physical abuse was not happening to my other brothers and sisters, just me. So, it was, we're talking like pretty extreme physical abuse, like my dad was the first guy to ever closed fist hit me in the face, And when I was, I don't know, like probably like 10 years old or something.
And do you know your biological parents?
No chance. No, even of whatever with that. But I don't even like, actually, I really don't kind of like when people ask me like, oh, you're real mom and dad or whatever, because look, I was adopted by the time I was like 6 months old. And so my parents are my parents. They're, I really don't like that terminology that gets used because I think it lessens like, the fact that they were, that was all I've ever known as my parents. I don't believe that whole blood is thicker than water stuff,
What kind of kid were you in high school?
What?
What kind of kid were you in high school?
Oh, well, when I was in high school, which wasn't for very long, I was pretty outrageous, I guess you could say. I was not popular, and maybe I was pretty, but I didn't know that. And so like I was, plus I was Asian, and like there was hardly ever any Asians ever where I was going to school or growing up or anything. So like kids would make fun of me, or just I was different, Like Asian chicks were not quite in yet. Then a couple years later it took off, but so I don't know. High school was horrible for me, actually. All the schools were horrible, elementary, middle school. And I didn't stay in high school very long at all.
Did you graduate?
No, I got my GED, like whatever, but I actually skipped a lot of grades, like a lot. And so I was in high school when I was like 11 years old.
That's early.
Yeah, I went from like, I did kindergarten through fourth, then I skipped to sixth grade. So I went from elementary, skipped fifth, went to middle school, did sixth grade only, skipped seventh and eighth, and went right to high school.
Why did you skip seventh and eighth?
Because I'm an intelligent person, because I have a, high IQ or whatever. But just because I'm really intelligent does not mean I cannot be a dumb bitch, because I am a pretty dumb bitch at times.
So how did you get into sex work?
Okay, this may sound weird. I think before I even knew what sex work was or anything, I think I knew that I was like sort of destined for that. I don't know how to explain that, but like, the first time I did a date or whatever, I was not even 18. I was, I think 16 or something. And I had met this guy in a hotel in downtown Denver, and he was filming like a promo for a like UFC fight. So like, I thought he was famous. And so then he just started talking to me, and then he took me back to his room, and I had no idea, like whatever, but I did fuck him. And then like afterwards he gave me $300, and I was like, what the hell? I was so psyched. I was like I was happier than I'd ever been ever in my life. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I mean, because, like I had like the other part, but I was like, the money was like, that was amazing. It was off the hook. And when you're like 16 and you have that much money and you've never had that much money, it's,
Did you feel like you discovered a new career?
Well, I feel like I'd not met career, but I mean, at that point, I didn't really think about careers, but I knew I had discovered something. And I kind of, I guess you could say, ran with it because ever since then, I never, ever have done really anything else. Like the day I turned 18, I went to the strip club, got a job, and then I just progressed. Like I started doing bachelor parties, and then I started escorting. Eventually, I started doing porn. I did the track work, like, where you're outside working or in Vegas. I've worked in drinky bars, massage parlors. And that a lot of girls don't get the opportunity necessarily because it's an Asian thing with those two things specifically. So
what is a drinky bar?
Okay, like you've seen the karaoke bars in Koreatown and stuff?
Sure.
Well, they're basically just like whorehouses, and a lot of people don't know that. So when you go in, there's all these really pretty girls, and then they'll come and sit down and have a drink with you. And the drink costs usually like something like $20, right? So the house gets a certain amount, and then the girl gets a certain amount. And then she just sits there and drinks with you. But they have these karaoke rooms, right? Private rooms. So the whole thing is to get a guy to rent one of the rooms or whatever, and then whatever happens back there is, between the girl and the client or whatever. And obviously, like, they encourage the more money that's coming into the house is better. And so, but I mean, it's funny because some people, like, for their prostitution needs, they have to mask it somehow, you know what I mean? Like, I honestly, for as well-traveled or as much as I know, I did not know that strip clubs were like straight up whorehouses too. Like, I actually had thought for a long time that they were kind of like, the way certain strippers are like, oh, I don't do this, or I don't do that, or like, I'm just a dancer. Like, wrong. You're not going to last too long in that environment if you're just a dancer. There's no way.
That's why there's back rooms?
Well, okay, it's not even sometimes even about the back rooms. Like, the champagne room, that's pretty, it's pretty awesome. But, okay, at a good strip club or any strip club, if you don't start interacting with some of their bigger or like more regular clients, or the clients that are coming in and dropping like 5,000-10,000 at a time, if you don't interact with those clients, and by interact I mean they will want to fuck you, period, you know what I mean? Like, then you're not gonna make it. Like, you're not gonna get shifts, or like the managers that are working are gonna like say, no, you can't work when you come in, or just, you know what I mean? It's there basically too, it's just everything is gonna start to be more difficult, and you're not gonna make much money, and so yeah, it's just not gonna work out for you very well, Because some girls, like, they are under the impression that they're going to be dancing, and no, the champagne room is what it's all about in all strip clubs. The house is pushing that, and if you don't, you know what I mean? If you're only making your money on stage, then you're not making much money, number one, but number two, like, they would give a rat's ass whether you're there tomorrow or the next day or whatever, because you don't,
What have been your experience? What are the differences that you've seen between like doing porn and doing escorting and stripping? And what are you doing currently?
Okay, well, currently I'm pretty much a straight up hoeing. That word is like offensive, I think, or scary for some people, but it doesn't bother me. I don't like see it as a bad thing. But I don't really have to try to like. Okay, like if I go somewhere, and even if I'm not dressed in a certain way or whatever, I mean, like at night, okay, I go to the liquor store, I'll just be wearing jeans, like tennis shoes. Sometimes I'll have my dog with me, and dudes will start following me. Like, I mean, they will aggressively start, trying to pick me up. They'll pull up next to me, or they'll try to like cut me off, like, like before I hit a street or something. And then they're just like, hey, what are you doing? Or, they'll like be like, how much? Or like, hey, do you smoke? And stuff like that. Do you need a ride? And, it's kind of interesting because I don't think every girl gets that, like when she's walking down the street, but for some reason I put out that vibe or something.
Is it because you're Asian? Asians are
no.
typically in
That's
high demand,
actually,
right?
that's actually like, they think I don't, or they're never assuming that I maybe am a hoe, because there's hardly any Asians in the sex, well, okay, that's in the sex worker industry, in the American mainstream sex worker industry, not, that's very, very few and far between. But in the human trafficking sort of other side of it, yeah, almost every Korean massage parlor's got Korean chicks in there, like fresh off the boat, don't even speak English. They're actually here getting their visas or whatever. And they stay housed, they don't ever leave. They don't, you know what I mean? They don't have that same, whatever, they don't have pimps, they don't have all that. They're just like, their pimps is the mama son. Okay, well, there, for instance, the coldest pimp I would ever say, like, you'll ever meet is a mama son, an old Korean woman. Oh, you think, like, there's no pimp I've ever met that is as gnarly or basically would put as much pressure on you or whatever to do things as an older Korean woman who's running a massage parlor. Like, they are diehards. Like, to get the money, like, I mean, there's no beyond, it's like the customer's always right times 1,000. Like, they're so accommodating that it's kind of disturbing, you know? It is.
What's been your experience between like stripping, porn, and
prostitution? Okay. I don't like the money, the take of it, like basically like how much you get or like how much is taken and stuff. That comes into play. Like the only thing I don't like about strip clubs is how much money the house is gonna get, you know? Like we're talking like pretty much almost 50% of everything you're getting, they're gonna get. And that's, and then they do some fucked up shit. Okay, look, no girl gets a job stripping so she can get a check or she can wait till Monday of next week or whatever. So I worked at a good strip club here in LA and they have funny money, number one. So the guys buy this funny money, so, you know, so it comes up on their credit card as like whatever, it doesn't say like a strip club. And then they pay the girls with the funny money. But the thing is that you can't cash out all the funny money at the end of the night. And then they'll tell you, okay, you can come on Mondays. But then sometimes on Mondays, they'll tell you, oh, we don't have that much whatever. And they'll say, oh, we'll give you a check. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I haven't had an ID in like 6 years. Like, how am I, you know, how's that gonna work? Like, so that shit is kind of like, it's kind of fucked up. And then sometimes the girls end up selling their funny money to other girls who are patient or maybe a little more stable. And so they're basically, you know, like they're selling like $500 for like $300 in cash, which is crazy. So it's like, after all this is said and done, like let's say you made $1,000, you're walking out of there with like $250 or something. That's crazy, right? Like, I mean, I think it's crazy. But and then you have to tip everybody. You have to tip the doorman, you have to tip the bartender, you have to tip the house mother, you have to tip the manager usually on shift. So that system is kind of like whatever. I don't like that whole. But as far as like the atmosphere, it can be kind of fun. It can be more fun, you know, because like you're around a lot of bitches, and then it's actually a lot safer, I would say, like because you're in house, and you know they're pretty on top of all that. Like, you know, guys that are looking to hurt women, they're not going to go to strip clubs to find those women. So that's cool and everything. But it is like definitely more like organized crime related. There is a lot of like organized crime people that tend to operate those businesses. So you got to kind of tread lightly with some of them. There's a lot of them like Russian owned or a few of them Asian, but like basically there's mafia money behind it. So you kind of have to be careful like about certain things.
In the porn world?
Oh, the porn world is, I mean, I have a tattoo on the back of my neck that says "Born to Porn," and I didn't even get that when I was doing porn. I got that actually when I was on the track in Waikiki, Hawaii, which is like a famous track. But I got it because I realized that I knew what I was I knew what I was meant to do my whole life, which was suck dick for money, or you know, like other stuff too. But really, I would say the number one thing is the dick sucking. That's what most people are paying for. But like I came full circle. I was out on the track one night and I was like, you know what? Like I wasn't even having a good night. It wasn't fun, but I realized like that's what I was meant to do in life. You know, like that was my calling or whatever. So I got the tattoo because, you know, like I was just like, this is what I was meant to do. Like this is what God wanted. He designed me for, you know, in his life. So, but porn is pretty fucked up industry. It is. There's some real fucked up shit going on, especially with like the testing and all that and the stuff that has come up, you know, like there's a couple stories in the media, but just the testing aspect of it is pretty crazy. And then it's another thing where you have to be accommodating to certain directors, because if you're not going to get work. So it's like, you know, if there's a director and he wants to hang out with you and he's gross and he's old and he's fat or he's just an asshole, If you don't want to hang out with him, you might miss out on a lot of work. And there's a major buddy, like the system is that the people tend to work with all the same people. Like, you know how Adam Sandler movies, got the same crop of actors and whatever. It's a lot like that in porn. Like the guys who like working with each other, they will work with each other over and over and over. And they will basically refer people who they, you know, had good experiences with. And sometimes even if the girl's not that great on camera or she, you know, doesn't look that great or whatever, if she was accommodating, they're going to refer her, you know, she's going to get more work. So it's just all about like, honestly, the thing is, I guess in all these industries, except I would say track work, which is like, but then you have your pimp to deal with usually, like, but you have to be accommodating and you're going to have to fuck some guys you don't want to fuck or like, but that's the nature of the beast, you know? And you think that'd be easy for someone who's doing that work to begin with, but sometimes it's not, you know? Like it's just, but I'm what they call a renegade hoe, which is like a hoe who can't be pimped on, basically. And that's pretty accurate, I would say. Like, I have had a pimp before, but it just was coincidence. Like, he was my boyfriend, he happened to be a pimp. So, you know, but I didn't seek that out, kind of thing.
Do you feel like the sexual abuse in your childhood kind of set you on this path?
Well, I'm kind of maybe in denial or something or whatever about that. No, I'm not in denial. I actually don't think, I personally think I'm sexually one of the healthiest people I know because I don't ever compromise myself, not anymore, like never. I have sex for me and I have sex when I want to have sex with who I want to have sex. And I do not, like I said, compromise myself. So basically if a guy makes me feel uncomfortable or if I'm not in the mood or if whatever, then I'm not going to do it. Whereas before, when I was younger and starting out, I felt a lot of pressure for different reasons, but not anymore. And then also, like, I don't have that, okay, I've had some real bad things happen, but I don't have that many issues with the guys who I'm seeing because, like, if I get a bad vibe, I'm not gonna go fucking, like, with some, you know, I'm not gonna go to a room or go wherever with some guy. But most of the guys that actually do this are really nice, they're respectful, they're cool, they just, you know, they just wanna fuck a woman who, like, doesn't hate getting fucked or like, you know, I mean.
Tell me about the scar on your chest.
Oh, well I got stabbed in my heart, chest, lung, which is like 3 major organs. That was like in 2015. It was pretty bad. Can I show you the scars?
Sure.
This is, so it's like this right here and this one are the 3 actual entry points, right? But this and all this, that's from them saving me. Okay, so so the guy, I didn't know him. I'd never seen him before, and I thought he was trying to pick me up for a date, and he had like a crystal meth pipe and $10 in his hand. And so I started going off on him, like yelling at him, talking shit to him, like being kind of rude and in your face. And then I told him to like stay out of the hood and to leave bitches alone, you know, and stop bothering them with this kind of bullshit. And I snatched the $10 out of his hand. And I just walked off, whatever. I went to go get a soda at the place, at this restaurant right across the street. And then I walked back to where I was. And when I was coming down the alley, he was waiting. He was waiting in the parking lot of an apartment building, and I couldn't see him, but he could see me. So when I got about 20 feet away, he just came out, and he didn't say anything. He was very calm, very, very calm, collected. He just walked right towards me. He looked me right in the eye the whole time, and then he got close to me, and I knew what was going to happen like a second before because I saw the hand go up, but I never saw the knife. I actually didn't, but I saw the hand go up, and I was like, fuck, and then he just went boom, 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 just like that. Heart, chest, lung, and then he just walked off, and he just, that's it. He was gone. Like, like catching him, oh yeah, right, that, no way in hell, like that's gonna happen, unless maybe he got caught up for something else, but you know, that especially where it happened, the police aren't really caring too much about stuff like that. And because there was some other things around that, like just the area and everything, it wasn't, I don't think it was a high priority, and there was hardly no investigating done, and you know, so, but I know that guy has done this, like 100% sure he has stabbed someone before, but I'm pretty sure he's killed people. Like, you don't wake up and just do stuff like that. Nobody wakes up and goes for like kill shots like that. You know what I mean? And just, but is that comfortable stabbing someone like that, you know? And
looking you in the eye while he does it.
yeah, and just calm. Like I said, he was very calm, collected. And the thing is, he was so nondescript. Like, he was just average height, average looks. He wasn't ugly. He wasn't all that handsome. He was the kind of guy who could like slip into a crowd or slip out of a crowd. And
black or white or Mexican?
It's just kind of like, man, it freaks me out because like, okay, so at first I didn't think he was maybe living in my area because I was on the streets, I was running the streets like crazy. And even if you don't really know who the people are, you know who everyone is out in the streets, whether it's drugs, hoes, whatever, gangbang. And I had never seen this guy before, never. And so it was, I don't know, like, but I thought maybe he was from somewhere else, like South Central, Compton. But then when I was like, wait a minute, you know, the way he laid in wait to ambush me, how he knew where to wait, and then how quickly he got away, I was like, he has to be living in the area, you know, to know that. And so like, I have a very good memory, but if I saw him, I wouldn't know it was him. I really wouldn't. And I know that sounds crazy to people, but I wouldn't know who it was. And like, the crazy thing was like, there was probably times where like maybe he saw me, but I didn't know that I was seeing him. You know, like we could walk right by each other on the street and I wouldn't have known that that was the guy. So,
you think you're addicted to this lifestyle? For the fast money?
Well, I think I'm addicted to, yeah, sort of. I think I'm a sex addict actually first and foremost. I think because I'm one of the few girls that like actually have to like tone it down sometimes around certain girls I know that are other girls that are working because like I don't hate it as much as everyone else, you know? Like nobody's forcing me. They've never forced me. Like I don't really see like a lot of the clients like, oh, they're old, they're fat, they're this, they're that, you know? Like they're gross or whatever. Like I don't have to get high, like super high before I do a date or something. Like I think actually I kind of like the some of it, you know? Like I like the anonymity of it, I guess, of having sex with different guys and stuff. And the money is just like even better, but but
you've been in love before?
Have I been in love? I thought so, but now who knows, you know? Because after everything is said and done, sometimes you're like, oh, was I really?
Yeah. Do you have kids?
Yeah, sort of, yes. I mean, I do, but I've had 3 kids, but I only have 1 kid left, so.
Meaning you lost some?
I had, one of my kids died as a result of a drive-by shooting in 2007.
Sorry.
Yeah, it sucked. And then I got pregnant in 2008, not on purpose, but I was not in any way gonna be having that. I couldn't. There was no way I could do that, you know. And I was too late to have an abortion and shit, so I ended up giving the baby for adoption actually. But that was a good thing. It ended up being a good thing, you know. But there was no way in hell I was gonna have another baby after everything that had happened. So. And
your third?
Oh no, that was my third. So it's like I have a daughter. She's 24.
Oh really?
Yeah. She's awesome.
You talk to her still?
Oh yeah, I do. It's like that's the only thing in this world that I guess drives me or motivates me to be a decent person or like do the right thing. Because you know I just don't want to make her any more upset than I already have in life. So like that's the only reason I pretty much behave myself is because I don't want to make her upset.
What emotions do you go through with this lifestyle?
Mostly I think I think I suffer from depression overall ever since I was little, you know, like, but honestly, I don't know why that is necessarily. I mean, yeah, all the bad shit that's happened, but I'm pretty good at like I don't know, being self-aware and kind of like dealing with shit like that, or like not being a little baby about it, you know, or so I don't know. Like I guess I don't know. I feel like sometimes I never have felt like I fit in quite anywhere. So I guess I've always felt like I was completely alone, no matter who was around me or, you know, how many friends or family I had. I didn't ever feel any sense of belonging anywhere. I actually, except in the fucking sex worker world and in the world like my boyfriend is in and stuff. So.
What have you learned about men from doing this?
I have learned that men are total pervs, pretty much. there's, I would say, in no way are they capable of monogamy. No man is capable of just having sex with like one woman on any level. You know what I mean? Not for life, not for a week, not for. Men are just highly physical creatures, highly physical, and also, but men are a little more like relaxed and simple about like their judgments, or like they don't see the same things that women see when they look at other human beings. So like the things I think are gross, like no guy has ever been like, oh, that's gross. So I like men. I like men a lot. Like I used to be the kind of girl who only had guy friends, but I don't put them on a pedestal. I don't think like they're better than women or anything, but I do. I like men. I like everything about them. Like the way they operate. Sometimes they're just how they conduct themselves. But I think they kind of have it a little better in this world because, they get to do whatever they want, and there's really nobody to answer to or like to call them names. But as females, it's totally different.
Do you believe in love?
Yes, I do, but I think it's just like a very short-term thing. I don't think it's, I do believe in love, but I think it's just something that happens and then it goes away. It's like a firework, I mean, it's nice, but it's like, it will never last, never. Never. And so, but fucking, like, that'll last. Like, I've had clients, they were my clients for so long that I was like, I mean, they've outlasted any other relationship in any part of my life. Like, I don't have a single best friend who I could say like, oh, for this many years, but I have clients where it's like, I've been.
You have regulars that have lasted.
Fucking off and on. I mean, like, for like over like almost 20 years, and it's crazy because like, okay, so like if I'm not actively working, because my boyfriend is kind of like, oh, he's got issues. He's Mexican, so you know what I mean? They're not really cool with that. But like, if I step out and like certain clients see me, there's no whatever. They're gonna, they will have to like talk to me, whatever, try to get a date with me. And it's pretty cool because like, I don't know, that makes you feel at least like, not like desired, but it makes you feel like you're actually, I don't know, like your work ethic is good, like you're providing a service where it's like, it's so, like good that basically a person is gonna continue to come back and like seek you out, even though there's plenty of other options for it, but
You're a sort of therapist.
Oh yeah, but I'm a good hoe. Like I'm a really good hoe, and I've worked on that though, because I didn't always used to be when I first started out.
What does a girl need to know to be a good hoe?
Well, I don't think there's anything. Okay, the girls that are the best hoes are the girls who actually like fucking. The girls who like getting fucked, they're gonna be the best hoes. Period. Because. I mean, come on, you're gonna be a good football player if you don't like, running or catching balls? I highly doubt that. So, yeah, if you like to get fucked, but really truly like to get fucked. Not like to get fucked because you want to get a boyfriend or because that's what you're supposed to do or because you're gonna get money or drugs out of it. Like, you like to get fucked because you like to get fucked. Yeah, if you like that, then hoeing is probably a really good thing to maybe check out or look into. And I think every woman is actually a hoe. It's just but you tell some girls that, oh, they will fucking just have a fit, especially like some of my friends. Oh, they're all low-key hoes, but if you call them a prostitute, they would probably want to fight you,
So you're saying a woman who's got a husband and...
Well, yeah, in a way, she's prostituting herself too. I mean, straight up, like, but, okay, like, yeah, I mean, actually, I do. I just think women do it for different things, and I just do it for the straight-up money. It's like I tell my girls all the time, I'm like, look.
You can almost say that you're being more honest than the husband.
Well, I tell my girls, I'm like, look, have you ever sucked dick before? I'm like, because if you had, you would know that you should get money for it. So girls that want to look at me like I look down on me or look at me like I'm bad because you know what I mean? Because I do make a lot of jokes about dick sucking money. But if you ever sucked a dick, you should know that you should get paid for it. Because it's, it's like, it's kind of whatever. No girl wakes up and wants to just suck dick. It's either you do it for a reason, you do it for what you're going to get out of it. And that being said, I mean, I prefer just cold hard cash,
What do you think the most misunderstood thing is about girls that do this kind of work?
Well, that's I don't know about that, but I would say that the hardest thing to deal with in this is the lack of respect for your life that certain people have. Like that is probably, and that everyone else doesn't care about. Like anytime a serial killer or just some really violent man or whatever wants to choose to do something really disgusting and violent and bad, the first choice, almost always first choice, is a working girl. And to know that your life is totally has no value, not only to these men, but to society, the rest of society, that's like kind of that's like a lot to deal with, you know what I mean? That's kind of a hard thing to accept or to live with. And to know that like nobody would care if something really fucking bad happens to you or if you just disappear or whatever, just because of what you do for, you know what I mean? Like for the money or just because you prostitute or whatever, like then it's okay for people to kill you or, you know, like that is, I have a hard time with that. Like that's something really fucked up. And I don't think people understand like how sick that is. Like from a sociological, like a sociological or psychological point of view, because we're all human beings. Like, you know, we're supposed to care so much about each other and value life, but I'd say a lot of people don't.
What are the advantages of being Asian?
The benefits of being an Asian outworker.
There's very few of you.
Well, okay, you are in high demand for the most part, but there is that thing, the whole thing about American and basically like Korean or whatever other ethnicity. It's hard if you're Americanized or Westernized. It's hard to get a job or to work within the Asian community of sex work, right? And then it's also hard for the fresh off the boat ones to get involved on the more Westernized side of it because, okay, like at this one massage parlor, I was always getting picked when the guys had the choice. I was always getting picked, and usually it would be because I spoke English. Like that's what the guys would end up like basically would break down to. So it was about communicating, being able to communicate, you know? But then again, then there's guys who I totally like offend them. Like I'm like, oh, they don't like because I'm loud, because I talk too much, or because I'm not like that demure, quiet, you know?
Not the typical Asian.
Well, the stereotypical, like what they desire. And I would say, yes, most guys that like Asian women, they're expecting you to be extremely quiet, very submissive, to giggle a lot, I don't know, to like, but just to be very accommodating to them, to not question them, you know, and to just.
You're cut from a different cloth.
I mean, yeah, but it's like, I don't understand how some of these guys can be like, think that you really are enjoying being with them. Okay, like I tell girls, if you can't make it, fake it, right? But I also tell them you should never do anything. If you don't like this kind of work, like don't do it because you'll fuck yourself up so bad. And down the road, you'll be shot. You'll be like, you won't be able to have a normal relationship with a man to save your life, you know? If you allow yourself to be compromised or do things you don't really want to do, it will ruin you for, you know? And okay, then you add the drugs to it, it's extra bad. So, I don't know, like it's...
Can a girl who does sex work,
well, okay,
long-term like you, ever become a housewife?
Well, yeah, of course, but I mean, I probably would be fucking a bunch of other guys on the side or something. Like, okay, it's to the point now where it's kind of funny. A few years back, I got to this thing where I was like, I used to watch like the Phil Donahue show and shit when I was younger, right? Like shows like that, and they'd always have these hardcore black hoes on there. And I remember like seeing them and thinking like, wow, because some of these women were so fat and ugly and whatever, but they would be talking about like making thousands of dollars and how like no guy would even talk to them unless they were breaking bread, unless, you know, they were hooking them up or giving them money. And I was like, what the fuck, right? Like I'm like looking at these women like, no way. As I got older, I realized, oh yeah, it doesn't matter what you look like. It matters about like what your intent is, where your heart's at, or like how you treat the guys, you know, like your work ethic, all that. Because I have seen some of the fattest, ugliest girls make a lot of money and have a lot of regular clientele. Because girls who are like super hot, super young, super whatever, breast implants, skinny, all that, they think they're just gonna go anywhere and they're gonna kill it, you know? They're gonna be desired. Oh, and that's not necessarily true, not at all. And actually it takes a while to build up. Like you can have some girl and she's super hot, super young, blonde, skinny, everything. You put her on the track, she's might not get it like the way you think she would at first, because there's sort of a trust thing and there's a comfortable, like that comfort level issue So, well, with the track too, it's different. Like, look, the prettier you are, it's kind of like the more shady it gets for the guy because he doesn't think it's like too good to be true. So they start questioning what's going on. And they either think you're a cop or just whatever, you know? I get a lot of that, actually. I get a lot of that. And I would say this, technically, I'm too pretty to be doing track work, you know, like working the streets, like actual like car dates and all that. But to be honest, that's round for round, pound for pound, if you like whatever, that is probably my number one pick of all the sex work, because I guess of the little details that it involves, you know?
You make better money there?
Well, okay, yes and no. No, not really, but that's because I'm a lazy hoe. But you can, I mean, look, a girl, okay, because my last time I was escorting, my rate was $500 an hour. Like that's online, it's documented. But the thing is that with all the online stuff is like everything you do gets monitored and gets talked about on these sites where they have review boards and stuff, right? They talk about everything. How your breath smell, did you smoke cigarettes, blah, blah, blah. And how you look and everything is like basically if they're paying $500 an hour, like nah, you have to have your nails done, your hair done, you know, you have to be looking like $500 an hour. But when you're working the track or like basically just getting a date wherever, you know, and it's so much more easier. It's like you can have a cast on, you could have barbecue sauce stains on your shirt, you could have like bruises all over your body, you could have a like fucked up lip. You could have not showered in like 5 days and you will still get a date, you know, like somebody will still pick you up, which is awesome because, you know, like honestly, the worse you look, it doesn't matter. Like, and sometimes I think it even helps you. Like the more like fucked up or sad or like injured or something you might look, like that might actually help you get more dates, you know?
Yeah, it's not necessarily the most beautiful wins the.
Well, okay, with the tracks, I think there's actually, the guys are a little bit sicker, I would say. They're not sicker, they're a little grittier. Like what it is they're looking for is a little more blue collar or something, you know? A little more like back of alley type of thing, because there's some guys that like, you know, strip club guys are totally different than escorting guys, than track guys, than massage parlor guys. They actually all, because yeah, when you said something earlier, when I think about it, they all are very different guys. They want different things and different levels of behavior from you.
You have to develop a very interesting skill set. Because
you have to know, like
every guy's going to be different personality.
Well, right, and like some guys, they'll like hook you up with all kinds of stuff, and they really want you to be like super appreciative. They want to hear the thank yous and the, you know, and then some guys don't want to even hear it all. Like almost like they don't even want to be reminded of the fact that they were so generous with you or whatever. And the worst thing I think a girl can do is to ever become dependent or solely reliant on a trick, or I really don't like using that word, but on a client or whatever, because you will get fucked so bad. Like, and the ones, especially the more they give you, and then you just like, it's so awesome. It's hard to like step back from, but you should, because when he stops or pulls the rug out from under your feet or decides for whatever reason that you fucked up and he doesn't want to do this anymore with you, it's gonna be bad. Like it's gonna be real bad. Like it'll set you back so hard, it's not even funny. It's horrible. Cause like the guy that did the most for me ever in like all my career of hoeing, oh man, when he pulled back, like, it was rough. I mean, it was really rough. I got really fucked off, like actually for a year after that. Just because, you know, I was just being stupid and I had just basically gotten so comfortable with, you know, him hooking me up and whatever. And then I had kind of stopped providing for myself, I guess you could say.
Right. Genevieve, what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in all of this? To not judge a book by its cover, basically, per se, because you never know who it's gonna be. That's gonna be like the big, because it's all about the money, you know. And like the guys who spend the most money or who basically put the most money in your pocket tend to be guys who you were not expecting that from, you know. And so I would just say, yeah, don't judge a book by its cover, or like don't be so quick to think that this guy,
you know, couldn't or could do this for you, because you'd be surprised at who, you know, just who the cool guys and the guys who are like, you know, actually like don't hate women. And, you know, they just want to have a good time. They're not trying to hurt you. They're not trying to hurt their wives. They're not trying to, you know, make up for some ego thing. They just want to have a good time. That's it. Like, those guys, like, that's your bread and butter. And so it's like, but the ones that really, like, make it possible to do, like, really, you know, amazing things, or sometimes to even get out of business for a year or two, those, you just, you know, it's actually usually the guy you're least expecting it from.
All right. Genevieve, thank you so much for sharing your story.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I wish you the best of luck out there.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Oh, luck. Luck has nothing to do with it.